Well, thank you for joining us for another episode of MACAE, the Michigan Adult Community and Alternative Education Association's Member Profile Series. I'm Patrick Brown, Executive Director of our organization. And we launched this video series to highlight the work of the professionals within our association. A reminder that you'll be able to view this video and the catalog of videos we have on our YouTube page, as well as social media platforms at MACAE Today, MACAE Today, and you'll be able to access it on our website at www.macae.org. I'm so excited to welcome our guest for today's video, Mr. Bill Henry, who's the Director of Adult and Alternative Education, I say in really kind of the mid-eastern Upper Peninsula. He'll share a little bit more about his work and what he's doing, but at the Consolidated Community Schools, which is a series of schools that he serves within the Upper Peninsula. So I'm so happy that you're here with us, Bill. Welcome to our program today.
Thank you, Patrick. It's good to be here.
So, Bill, I was sharing with you before we started that we launched this video series for our professionals, our association members, to share a little bit about what they do on a day-to-day basis, but also their background, their educational experience. And not all of us envision that this will be the pathway for us. Well, maybe we entered education or workforce or however we got into this. And it's been so interesting to hear everyone's stories about how they've kind of landed in the positions that they're in. So why don't you take us back? Tell us a little bit about your educational background, your professional experience. How did you get started and what has led you to your current role that you're in now?
Well, my experience to get to this point is kind of interesting. I did not start out in education. I started out in banking. I decided I was going to go, be a teacher. My mom had been a special ed teacher. My grandfather had been a superintendent. And, when I graduated high school, education was the last thing I was going to go into. But I ended up deciding that, yes, I was going to go into education after 4 years working for a bank. And so I did 1 year of teaching regular ed, and I did not particularly enjoy that. I then went to working in an alternative ed program, which I loved. I ended up working in alternative ed for 12 years. The last 4 of it was at Houghton Lake Community Ed, working for Heidi Platka. And during that time, I decided, you kind of see what people are doing as an administrator, and you decide, yeah, I could do that. And, I could do that. So I went and got my degrees. And I was hired as the assistant director up here. I did that for 2 years under Bill Sutter, kind of training and figuring out how the process works. And then, so the last 7 years, I've been the director here.
That's wonderful. I didn't know that about your financial background. I'll have to hit you up for some investment questions that I have. And I forgot about your, you name dropped a few people that others might recognize within the MACAE network. Bill Sutter, a great advocate and representative from the Upper Peninsula, as well as Heidi at Houghton Lake, who left adult ed, came back to adult and alternative ed. It's kind of funny how that transition happens and things come full circle. So you've had a lot of great influences throughout your time as well. Is there a moment from those experiences that stand out as kind of the moment where you felt drawn into this space, I would say? Or a series of moments or themes that come out?
No, there's really not a moment. It was kind of a slow progression, a realization of what my skill set was. I could do this. So I kind of ended up in the administration side. Not that I disliked being a teacher in alternative ed. And there's been days I've made the comments of, I could always go back to being a teacher. But this was just sort of where my talent set led me to.
Yeah, that's great. That's wonderful. So tell us a little bit about where you are now, your current role. Tell us about your program. And I think what's really significant or important for at least I know you'll highlight it, but just to underscore, is the fact that the service area, the geographic area that you're responsible for is vast. And the density of that geography versus perhaps the density of the population that may live in that geography is just important to highlight, because it's very different than maybe other sectors of the state or other colleagues that work in the lower peninsula where their population density within a 5-mile radius is so high, right? Versus the square mileage that you have to cover. So tell us about your program. Tell us about what you do on a day-to-day basis.
Okay, our program, we're part of Engadine Consolidated Schools, which is a very, very tiny little school district in the Eastern Upper Peninsula, but we're really a consortium of 10 school districts that, we operate under a consortium agreement with. Then there's also a couple other school districts that we provided services to. So, we are Engadine, Three Lakes Charter Academy, Taqua Area Schools, which is Newberry, Whitefish, which is Paradise, Rudyard, Pickford, Brimley, Detour, and Detour Area School, or Detour Area Arts and Technology Academy, which is a charter school, and then Cedarville Schools, which is Les Chenaux Schools. But we also do stuff. We do adult ed in St. Ignace and in Sault Ste. Marie. So we're spread over 3 very large counties up here. The geographic area is approximately the size of the state of Connecticut. I live on the western side of that area, but my office is in the central part of it. So I live in Newberry, but I work in Kinchlow. So I kind of drive all over. I make the joke that my car is my office, but it's not that actually that far out of reality. I mean, I live off my computer wherever I can find, internet connections or whatever, and I have literally a milk crate that I carry stuff. Everything that I'm working on is in, so that I can just work from any particular school district or wherever. We have 2 alternative ed programs up here. Then we also provide a teacher for a home for adjudicated youth. That's all kind of like our alternative ed stuff. Our adult ed, we have locations in Newberry, Sault Ste. Marie, St. Ignace, here in Kinchlow. Then we also do up in Brimley at Bay Mills Community College. Then we also provide at the Chippewa and Mackinac County jails. So that's where we're at for adult ed. But these programs are really small, as you kind of alluded to. Like I live in Luce County, which is where Newberry is. Our population density is less than 3 people per square mile. Chippewa County, it's going to be a little higher. Mackinac County is not that much more really than that. Mackinac County is weird because, in the summertime, St. Ignace is full, but the rest of the county is empty. And in the winter, the whole county is empty. So that's kind of what we do. And then we also have 4 GSRP preschools, one over in D toward the far eastern part of the Eastern Upper Peninsula, one at Engadine, one at Newberry, and one in Pickford. And we also do a little bit of enrichment type stuff for people. We used to do more. So like we do the 6th grade camps for the 10 school districts. We do the junior high quiz bowl, the spelling bee, that kind of stuff. So that's really kind of what we do as our core. We also do some enrichment stuff at the pool at Rudyard after hours there, that kind of thing. But I mean, there's always these little things. Oh, we run a testing center in Sault Ste. Marie. So we do Pearson VUE and Prometric testing up there too. We picked that up from LSSU because, the cost wasn't effective, but for us, we can do it at a lower price. That kept it in the area. But that's kind of who we are and what we do.
That's wonderful. I knew about the core adult and alternative programming. I didn't know about the other kind of enrichment and community service programming you did. So learn something new every day. That's awesome that you serve so many communities in that way through that programming. So is there something that stands out on your day to day that you enjoy the most? And I ask that because there's always challenges within every day. There's opportunities within every day, but what kind of keeps you going?
Stubbornness, bullheadedness. What keeps me going? Not being smart enough to know when to stop. Any of those would be appropriate. No, this is one of those things where I guess I flash back to, I worked in a bank. I was a loan officer. So for 4 years, what did I do? I fueled basically people's greed. Everybody wanted stuff. So, that was one of those things where you just had kind of like that moral epiphany. It's like, you know what? I'll try to do something that helps people. So that's how I ended up in alternative ed, or well, in education. So really what it is that, what is the thing day to day, month to month, year to year that still keeps me here is, as long as I am still effective, I am happy. As long as I can say, yeah, you know what, we're making a difference, that's what keeps me here.
That's
Um,
wonderful. Do you have
kind
a
of separate.
quote or a mantra that, or a phrase or a lesson that kind of keeps you going? So you
Um,
don't go crazy.
the first one that pops in my head is probably not the appropriate one. It's kind of a literary one. It's, oh, what fresh hell is this? Um, Basically, because it just seems like every day there's something good that happens, but every day there's something that happens that you just go, what?
You didn't
How
know
about you?
you didn't know you had that capacity or that yeah, that
Or
bandwidth.
just, and it can be anything from, a little, I made a mistake, to somebody else made a mistake, to any of those things. But some days it's just like, okay, what really, I don't, but you just, the trick in life is to kind of roll with the punches and know what you want to, what your goal in life is, and just kind of work towards making it happen.
Yeah.
Not to float with what's going on, but to be able to adjust, readjust, and figure out, how to overcome, adapt and overcome what the situations are. And in a lot of ways, that's what adult ed and alternative ed is teaching is, maybe in life you got dealt a bad hand. How do you adapt to your situation? How do you overcome what adversities you want so that you can get to where you want to be?
That's fantastic. Yeah, I was just thinking that as you were saying that. So thanks for articulating that too. Where do you see your programming going as you would on? What kind of themes are you focused on or projects for this next year? As we were just chatting about, we're sitting in summer and yet our gears are already turning for the weeks ahead and the months ahead.
Well, the big things for me is, um, like last year, we were only able to get back into one of the county jails, because one of them actually houses federal prisoners. Um, our goal is to be able to hopefully get back into that one. That's from the adult ed side. That's been my biggest thing, is I want to be back in the county jails. Um, so that's from the adult ed side. Now, from the alternative ed side, my big thing is, I'm looking to get my enrollment to the level that I want, so that, we can get as many kids to have credentials so that they can go get jobs. My goal is to be able to get different groups in to see my kids, to try to figure out, okay, this is what you could do with your life.
Yeah, those are great goals for the next year and really common themes that I've, heard from other programs as well. So we've got work to do together to be able to reach those heights and those goals. Well, I want to thank you, Bill. Before we go and before you maybe share a little bit about where people can find out services from you, I wanted to hark back to something that you had said about not being smart enough to know when to stop. And I was thinking as you were talking since then about, I think you're extremely smart because you never give up. So I'm going to flip that a little bit on you and say, because you know how important our programming is that you're offering and what it means to the communities that you serve. And so hopefully by this video and sharing out the story of your program, the communities that you serve will also if they don't already, will just have a deeper appreciation of the impact that you have within those communities and why they are so critical and important to the lives of the Michigan citizens that you're serving. So I just wanted to change that because as you're talking, I just see that within the work that you do. So where can people find out more info?
Well, obviously, you know, we have a Facebook page. We have a website, ccss.eep.eupschools.org. But I mean, if you just do a Google search for Consolidated Community School Services, there we are. You got to be careful, of course, if you punch in just CCSS, you'll get the Common Core. Was our name first? They stole it from us. But you know, you can find us any way like that. Up here, you know, a lot of times people just, it runs off, you know, word of mouth. You know, if people are looking for something, they, you know, people in the community know. But our big issue is over time, our population has changed here. And so we are running into the issue of fewer and fewer people know word of mouth what we are and who we are and where we are. So that's one of our big issues, is just making sure the community knows that we're here and what we do.
Absolutely. Well, hopefully this helps to carry that message forward, and thank you for that. Well, thank you for your time, Bill. We so appreciate you. We appreciate your service in this field, sharing your story, your representation on our MACAE Association board as the longtime representative from the Upper Peninsula, sharing all the insights and challenges and opportunities from your colleagues there, and just really appreciate all that you do for this wonderful field that we work in.
Thank you, Patrick. Thank you for everything you do for us. I mean, without you, you know, we would not be able to make our voice heard to all the legislators that we really need to. And I thank you for that.
Thank you. I appreciate that. And we so appreciate everyone this last year, especially coming together and really having that singular voice. So thank you for being one of those people with us. So we will see you real soon. And thank you all for listening. You again can find this video and others on our website at macae.org and on our social media pages at MACAE Today. We'll see you next time. Take care. Bye-bye.